Starting this year, Korea has a new visa, known as the Digital Nomad Visa, that seeks to offer foreigners the chance to work remotely and travel broadly in the country for a longer period of time. So what exactly is a digital nomad? What are the benefits of being a digital nomad? And what are the requirements for Korea's Digital Nomad Visa? A growing number of young people are choosing to move beyond the confines of cubicles for work and for travel. That being said, for more on the life of digital nomads, I have Cho Jeong Hyun, founder of the online community Digital Nomads Korea, here in the studio. Jeong Hyun, welcome.
Nice to meet you.
I also have Kwon Soa with us. Well, welcome back.
Hello, Sunny.
And before we turn to Jeong Hyun, first, Soa, let's begin with a definition of the phrase digital nomad.
Right. A digital nomad is someone who can work from anywhere, so meaning traveling from place to place, if technology and internet is available. Digital nomads work at temporary accommodations, hotels, coffee shops, libraries, co-working spaces, camping cars, you name it. Some have a home base, some not. Now, while this lifestyle was followed by people since the 1980s, the term started to gain popularity a decade later, driven by technological advancement, including the wide use of mobile devices. And today, with some 35 million digital nomads worldwide, digital nomadism is reshaping the way people think about work and travel. A digital nomad can be a freelancer, but also a full-time employed or self-employed person. And jobs range from designer, blogger, content creator, writer, programmer, teacher, accountant, and so forth. But our Jeong Hyun is going to have more on that later on. Now, why do people choose to become digital nomads? Probably the biggest advantage is freedom. You get to work wherever you want and at what time you want. And other benefits, or actually benefits that stem from that freedom maybe, are productivity, creativity, motivation, the ability to become more adaptable, and more opportunities to explore. And those are actually benefits basically that you gain from traveling around.
Right then, Cho Yeon, keeping in mind what Flora has just said, she mentioned one benefit of being a digital nomad. And before we delve into your efforts to enhance the life of digital nomads here in Korea, what more can you tell us about the benefits of being a digital nomad, and what is your personal take on this choice of life and work?
Yeah, as Soa mentioned, being a digital nomad have so many great perks. Like you have a choice, you can choose where to live and where to work and who to be around with. So you get to have a control of how you want to live your life. For example, you don't have to live in big cities for your work. You can move to a smaller town where it's cheaper and maybe close to nature. You can also live in a different country and travel at the same time, like digital nomads. So when I used to work for a company before starting my company, I could only travel using my vacation time, which is in Korea like 14 to 15 days. So I had to schedule my vacation time very tight to travel. But as a digital nomad, you don't have to worry anything about that. So you can travel at your own speed. And that means you can also meet a lot of local people and really be into the community, immersed into the community. So if you happen to fall in love with one place, you can just easily extend your stay and stay longer. So right now as an entrepreneur, I'm very flexible with my time. So I can decide to just go to Vietnam or Thailand and stay there during the winter, cold winter in Seoul. But at the moment, I have a lot of business going on in Korea, so I cannot fully become a digital nomad. But if I have a choice, I would definitely spend more time as a digital nomad.
Right. And so, perhaps very well aware of the benefits of being a digital nomad, the Korean government has launched a digital nomad visa starting this year. Do give us a bit more details about that.
Sure. So that's the digital nomad visa, or also referred to as the workation visa, which was launched on January 1st this year. And it's a test operation until December 31st this year for now. And this visa will will allow foreigners who are employed overseas to work remotely in Korea for up to 2 years. First for 1 year, after which the visa can be extended for another one. And that's much longer than the 90 days foreigners could stay either without or with a tourist visa. However, there need to be specific requirements to apply for the new digital nomad visa. A person has to be employed by a foreign company for more than a year or has to own a foreign company for more than a year and, of course, has to be able to work remotely. And you have to make a significant amount of money in your country. Applicants must earn more than twice the Korean gross national income per capita of the previous year, as announced by Korea's central bank. So for this year, that would mean an annual income of at least 85 million won, or around 65,000 US dollars. Apart from that, you will need documents like a criminal record certificate, so probably showing that you do not have any crimes in the past, and also medical insurance as well. Accepted applicants can accompany immediate family members who do not need an additional visa. Children, however, have to be under the age of 18, and the applicant himself or herself needs to be above 18. In the first month, 7 applications were submitted, among which one person's application was said to have been accepted. Korea is not a front runner, actually, when it comes to digital nomad visas. As of October last year, 38 countries already implemented such programs.
Right, I see. Right then, Cho Jeong Hyun, I understand you created now an online platform in support of digital nomads here in Korea. Could you tell us a bit about your platform and what was the response within that platform with regard to the government's digital nomad visa?
Yeah. So a year ago, my company Hopper started the Digital Nomads Korea community. So we had this initiative. We should make South Korea the next digital nomad destination. So I started the community because I looked into other countries where there are a lot of digital nomads, and it seemed like the key to the success of attracting digital nomads is having a great community. And since I looked up online and there were not specific community for digital nomads, I decided to start one myself. So right now, our community is a mix of international and local digital nomads, and we run an online community and also operate like offline meetup events based in Seoul. And we also share useful information through our Instagram channels and our website. So regarding your question about the response to the visa, since the visa was announced, it has become like the hottest topic in our community. We have an onboarding survey to join our community, and now it's around reaching 1,500 people signing up. And we asked the question, are you interested in digital nomad visa? And more than 80% answered yes. So we could see from this data that a lot of people are interested in the digital nomad visa. But Soa mentioned there was the news that in January, there were only 7 people applied and only 1 got accepted. And I could explain you this. It's because it's just the beginning. Although there are a lot of interest, the application process is not like very clear at the moment, and administration system was not like very friendly yet. And now we've been talking with the government, and they replied, and I think there will be a lot of improvement now. So yeah, I hope there will be a lot more application being approved in the future. And also regarding the income requirement, I think it will be great. The government could alleviate, and I think it's possible because it's just a pilot stage now. So if it gets more alleviated, like the income requirement is lower, then I think this will open the opportunity to a lot more people.
Right. So for now, the requirement is an annual amount of 85 million won.
Yes,
then.
yeah.
Right, I see. Cho Jeong Hyun, many claim that the pandemic served to boost the number of digital nomads. Is this true?
Yeah.
Based on what you've observed?
I agree. The pandemic definitely accelerated the increase of digital nomads. So during COVID, many people were allowed to work from home, and this made them realize, oh, I can actually work remotely and be very efficient. So, and then after the pandemic, the travel restriction eased, and people were like, why am I working from home? Like, I should go travel around. Like, I could just bring my laptop and work. So this really, the pandemic really became the game changer. And some companies are trying to bring their employees back to the office. But honestly, like once you experience this, once you're exposed to this culture, it's really hard to go back to the old ways, the cubicle. And also there are now a lot more companies opening like remote working jobs. And this is because a lot of young talents want this, like flexible work arrangements. So looking at this, I think this is going to be a keep going trend.
Right. Yeah. Jeong, do you suppose there are specific jobs that are more suitable for a digital nomad? I mean, Soa mentioned a couple, but I was wondering if there are more that you could add to that.
So looking into our community, the most common jobs are IT developers, and there's also a lot of marketers and designers who can work freelance as a freelancer. And also there's a lot of entrepreneurs, I think this is specifically in Korea, and also freelancers. So it's basically people either run their own company or they're allowed to work full-time for a company, full-time remotely for a company, so they can travel. And also in Korea, I think there's specifically a lot of number of people involved in the startup scenes and the blockchain industry.
Oh, I see. Are most of the digital nomads on your platform relatively young adults?
Yeah, 20s and 30s.
Right,
yeah.
So it's a preference among them then?
Yes, it's a new trend. So people who are in the early career or have a little bit of experience to maybe ask their boss, like, I want to go remote. They are the target, like they are the main customers.
Right, I see. So some pundits believe that the digital nomad visa launched by the South Korean government itself is an attempt to better tackle the country's low birth rate. What more can you add?
Right, Korea's chronic low birth rate really seems to be related to just any policy that we talk about these days. That's why we always, this topic itself comes up a lot. And just like the principle in trying to welcome more immigrants, students, foreign workers, and travelers to Korea, there are hopes that the digital nomad visa will be of help to the country's demographics if the workation ends up in wanting the foreigners to stay longer in Korea and with that become a resident. According to Statistics Korea, the birth rate in 2023 stood at 0.72, another drop from 0.78 the previous year. In the October to December period last year, an all-time quarterly low of 0.65 was recorded as well. Experts say with the implementation of the new digital nomad visa, the government may want to lead discussions into the normalization of social mix between Koreans and non-Koreans, meaning welcoming more digital nomads into Korea may increase interracial relationships and with that contribute to the low birth rate. Korea is perceived as a homogeneous society and international couples are still quite rare here in the country.
Right. And that being said, Jeong Hyun, what other gains do you suppose does the Korean government look to garner amid a greater presence, of course, of digital nomads here in the country?
So I think the Korean government sees a great opportunity by inviting digital nomads. So it's not only about the economic boost from the long-term and wealthy travelers, but I believe there's a bigger gain. So I think it's to tackle the population decline and to revitalize the regional area. When I mean by regional area, it means the other part of the country beyond Seoul. So because everyone is trying to live in Seoul, the other regions are very losing its population. And even Busan, the second biggest city in Korea, is losing its population. So that can show that how serious this problem is. So to tackle this problem during the pandemic, Korean government initiated the workation program. So it's a term to describe the work culture where you can work remotely in a different city, enjoying the balance of work and life, work and vacation. So workation program in Korea started to target companies in the capital area to send their employees to the regional area to work remotely. And because this can boost their local economy and they could be like a short-term population there. And I think the digital nomad visa, which is also called the workation visa, is a step towards this direction. So it's trying to make Korea more inviting for nomads and addressing the challenges of the regional development in the country.
Right.
Yeah.
And that being said, Cho Jeong Hyun, what do you suppose do digital nomads who decide to station themselves here in Korea look to gain?
So I think Korea has a lot to offer for digital nomads. So digital nomads are very tech-savvy people, and Korea is perfect for this type of people because Korea is well known for its advanced technology and fast internet, even in the rural areas, and this is a big attraction point. We also have a lot of laptop-friendly cafes where you can just bring laptop and use free internet and enjoying the coffee, and this is something digital nomads are crazy about. Additionally, Korean cities are also very safe and vibrant. Digital nomads often have to work in the late night because of the time zone difference. And they're just really happy about that they can order delivery food in the middle of the night and they can just stroll around the city safely and everything is still open. So this is something Korea can offer to digital nomads.
Right, for sure, I'm sure. So what are some of the challenges then to be addressed by Korea to ensure a more thriving community of digital nomads?
Well, Jeong Hyun just mentioned that Korea actually already has a lot to offer, but still fostering an environment that's really friendly to the digital nomad lifestyle is one of the major tasks that tag along with policies that simplify the stay in Korea. So maybe more 24-hour working spaces is what some pundits say, especially due to the time difference again. More English language menus at restaurants, as the case for digital nomads is different compared to students who come to learn the Korean language or travelers, short-time travelers who often go to places that already are visited frequently by tourists and have a lot of English language on it. And racial discrimination is also an issue that needs to be addressed. In fact, CNN in an article on Korea's digital nomad visa cited the results of a study by the National Human Rights Commission, according to which as of March 2020, 7 out of 10 immigrants in Korea said racial discrimination exists in Korea's society. And back to the workation visa, although it's been just 2 months since its enforcement, a challenge is to actually get a substantial number of people apply and get accepted for the visa program, as the income requirement, as we mentioned before, is likely to make maybe some aspiring digital nomads give up in the first place. So maybe, as Jeong Hyun mentioned, lowering that criteria would also be a challenge. And another challenge the government faces is that more and more young Koreans that are often described as the MZ generation wish to work abroad, and in many cases it's high qualified job seekers that choose a career overseas over a job at a top conglomerate in Korea. So while Korea aims to attract more digital nomads to the country, it'll also be a task to keep young Koreans in Korea or make them become digital nomads abroad to working for a Korean company or other place.
Right. And Cho Jeong Hyun, this is an impromptu question, but among the people on your platform, the digital nomads there, what suggestions have they made to perhaps make South Korea a more attractive destination for digital nomads, generally speaking?
Oh, they often talk about the apps, the online services, because if you don't have a Korean number or Korean bank account, you have so much hurdles to use Kakao Taxi or a lot of apps like delivery service like Coupang or Baemin. And this is the convenience lifestyle Korean could offer, but foreigners cannot access to this unless they have a visa, like an ARC card. So this is the really interesting topic of how we could solve this, because a lot of services are around these challenges. So I think having a visa is important, but solving this infrastructure problem is also very important.
Right.
I really have to agree with that, because I have a F4 visa here in Korea, as I'm a German citizen. But even for me, 10 or 20 years ago, it was really difficult to just log into some, social media service, for instance. But that has changed over the years. So I believe it's going to be a task for the government to make that also available for short-time or digital nomad visa applicants.
Right, hopefully in the near future then. So very briefly, what more can you tell us about the competition that Korea faces in its hopes to host more digital nomads?
Well, there are already established countries that are places that digital nomads really want to travel to. So I got a question for you, Sunny. Can you guess any countries among a list of top 10 countries for digital nomads for year 2024?
With the exception of South Korea?
Yes, South Korea is unfortunately not yet on the list.
All right, I'm assuming some countries in Southeast Asia then, where the pace of life is leisurely?
Actually, no. Southeast Asian countries are really nice places to go for travel. But in terms of digital nomads, favorite digital nomad countries, no Asian countries are in the top 10. We've got Spain, followed by Argentina and Romania, and other countries are the UAE, Croatia, and Portugal. And also, I think many of these, although they are generally nice places to travel to, there's also a list of easiest countries with digital nomad visas for remote work. And there we have St. Lucia, Georgia, and Cape Verde in the top 3. And again, in the top 10, there's no Asian country. So with that, I think it's going to be a really tough competition for Korea, but we have just started with the implementation of the new visa. So that could be a beginning. And also recently, Japan has also announced to jump on the bandwagon. So I think maybe, as Jeong-hyun mentioned, to become the digital nomad destination in Asia, we could now start to promote a lot to become one of the top 10.
Right, and speaking about promotion then, Jeong-hyun, what is your community planning to do to better support digital nomads here in the country?
So to make a Korea digital nomad hotspot, we're focusing on community and service aspect. So first, I believe building a welcoming community is the first and most important thing to attract digital nomads. So we're trying to create events and create an environment for digital nomads to easily connect to each other and also, have like synergy from that, also meet local community from there. On the service aspect, we're providing workation program called Hop-In, and workation program across the country called Hop-In. It's a program designed for digital nomads to work and travel together, and it includes accommodation and co-working space and travel experience together. And as part of Hop-In, we also run a co-working and co-living space called Hop-In House in Hongdae Yeonnam-dong area. So we aim to create a home away from home for digital nomads and a place for them to connect to each other. And it's also open 24 hours, so it's kind of great for people who have to work late.
Right, it's great to know, Jeong-hyun. It's great to know.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your endeavors.
Thank you.
All right, well, that's all the time we have for this edition. So thank you very much for your time and your thoughts. And Jeong-hyun, as always, thank you very much for what you said.
Thank you.
Right, well, that is all the time we have for this edition of Issues and Insiders. Thank you for watching. See you same time tomorrow.